Hi. So, in today's video, I wanted to give you a few more references to the book Madeleine. Um, so, I will start with boarding school. So, Trisha went to boarding school and she studied French over there. And she was actually the one who advised me to go and study French. And when I did so, it didn't, work with me because after 2 months I have resigned and I had a teacher who really didn't like me. And when I was just repeating the very symbolic word like jeune, which means young, she was like, there is no jeune, there is no a. Where do you hear a in it? And yeah, basically I had no friends over there, and unfortunately I have resigned, started to preparing for graphic and design. And so, with my a lot of interest and so on, that was for me just a waste of time. Um, yeah, and you know, actually, this interest when it comes to French language starts very early in your environment when they tell you, for example, oui, or yeah, I think they would also say enchanté. But also my teacher Gościumińska, in the years in the grade 1, 2, 3, she would say, "Oui, bien sûr, enchanté, madame." So madame, as you know, is one of the ways and that an escort is being created, right? They were educated girls, they were educated women who were created into dames, into escort. So I was told, for example, that a dame, dama, so an escort doesn't sit like that, or I would be referred to as young lady, young dame, right, moda dama. And in my life later on, I came across a lot of the times just girls who would speak French, but I think the very symbolic thing is in the first, for the 6 years of my primary school, I was basically sitting in the same desk with Agnieszka, and she couldn't utter, she couldn't pronounce R, Polish R. So that, when you start learning French, or when you just hear a French person speaking French, then you immediately pay attention to this R, because it's just like a mission impossible at the beginning, with this très bien, très bien. I mean, yeah. And then many years later, when I had to, when I worked for Sacred Care, and I met sister director, my boss. She was actually also the one who couldn't utter R, and somehow, yeah, I strongly link that with French language. So I don't think that these people who come around are accidental people, because they even have very symbolic names and they have very symbolic surnames. So I would say Aga is a name that is included in the blue agave, which is the flower that is used to make tequila. But it's a special way to go about it, because they actually cut out the heart of the flower. So names such as Agata and Agnieszka do include, with the very first three letters. They're included in the word agave, right? And Aga's surname would speak about our water around the town and in my village. So that's River Biała, White River. And that's, very close to Agnieszka's surname. Yeah. And then what else I wanted to tell you is that, when you go and watch Madeleine, then you will see explicitly that she very often mixes French and English. And, since early years of my life, I would actually mix. I mean, as soon as I started to learn English, because You know, it's not only written in the statement from the courts that I was, mixing from the psychiatrist, actually. Sorry. So it was stated that I was mixing English and Polish. And even my best friend who knew me from primary school told me, but you did that in the past. So I did that in the period of, the very first 6 years of primary school. Yeah. And then, and there was more, then you have the fluid, the thing that you put to make your skin, to make the color of your skin look even, right? So that's Trisha who showed me how to do it. And she was the one who would give me her jewelry when she didn't want to use something anymore. Then she would hand it to me, and I was always happy to get it, as a little girl, why not? Or as a teenager. Even, when being just very old, 33 years old, I got the very first lipstick ever, and I used the very first lipstick ever when I was, running away from witches and trying to protect myself from them. So I actually got the lipstick from Trisha. It was a red lipstick, my first ever. Yeah. And, she would also talk about doing a split, like, when you're elastic with your body, and then you're so elastic that your legs can go to both. That's not the best way to show it. To both sides. The splits, right? And she wouldn't say that explicitly. She would actually say something. I'm so elastic that I could easily, make the split just after a few trainings. And once she said that, I also wanted to do that. But, I think that's the association with Pamela Anderson, when it just saw her giving an interview and then, having conversation and joking that she can do that and she can show how to do that. So she would do the split in front of the cameras, and actually that's the symbol of those dancers, those performers. They are very elastic and they actually work for it, right? So yeah. And I would say that I would associate with Trisha a mirror too. Right. Because I just remember her with the mirror. Right. Sure thing, all of us use the mirror, but I just think she used it more often than the rest of us. Okay. And then comes the flapper dress, which looks like this. I think, it might have been a little bit shorter because I went to prom in it. It might have been a little bit shorter, so I didn't feel any discomfort that, that I have to watch over and, think if everything is covered. Right. So here's the story with the dress. So I went to the prom, and actually it starts with the memory. I know I told you one of the videos before, but it starts with the memory that I remember one of my sisters preparing for the prom, and my second sister gave her a makeup and did her hair, and she looked great, really. She had a purple dress with, long purple gloves, and she looked like a mermaid. So I always thought that my sister would do the same for me. But right before going to the prom, we had an argument, and then I had to do my makeup on my own. I had to do my hair on my own, and I went there with a professional dancer. I don't know how long Michał was practicing dancing, but Martin has been practicing for, I think, 9 years or something like that. So I think that was the professional dancer. And here's the thing, we just didn't have anything to talk about. And I go in this dress, and, opposite me sits my friend Monica, who is an opera singer, and she had a mom who was a hairdresser. So she even told me that I had nice hair, but I didn't think so, and I told her the same. But basically, we didn't have too much of a conversation by the table, and my partner seemed to like the opera singer more. And when he was dancing with me, I was stepping on his shoes, and I think it just happened to me once before with my brother. So I, uh, well, the thing is, I went there in a dress. Then I did a little bit of reading about that dress. Let me just have a look at the notes. Yeah, and it was introduced in the early middle 1920s, and it's in the USA, and it is associated with dance and with jazz, but it's also a symbol of changes, liberation, empowerment, freedom, independence, and break from traditional constraints. And the thing is, maybe it wasn't too short or it wasn't uncomfortable to wear, but that wasn't also something that I would go for with 100%. And the thing is, that this dress is very often seen in Moulin Rouge or jazz clubs, and it probably is this very meaningful, iconic dress, and I had no idea. And the reason why I tell you so is because once I started to be interested into it, I also discovered that I had, Christina Aguilera's skirt from the song "Dirty." So Christina basically sings the song Moulin Rouge, and she advertises, of course, the very first strip club ever. But I used to listen to her, and I used to listen to the song Fighters, and I used to listen to the song Dirty, and that's the skirt she used to wear over there. I mean, she's wearing over there. And here is something unusual. So here I have to tell you for sure, I never liked short skirts, because just it was enough one time I went to the shop and I came across a group of boys, and I just didn't have confidence, and that's for sure. So I didn't like it. I know it for a fact. But somebody in the environment will tell you, "Oh, you look good," and you just stay with the skirt. But not like permanently. It was just sometimes I would wear it, but I know it for a fact it didn't feel well. Also because of the material, and because of the length, and because of the fact you have to watch over yourself like all the time and have it on your mind that if everything is covered. And when I wear a short dress and when I walk in the street, I just have it my butt on my mind all the time. Like, is it covered? So what else do I want to tell you is that the color of it, when I paint, I actually use brown, and we say precisely that we need to make the color dirty, and that's precisely the color that Christina is wearing in this video clip of Dirty. And there was more, and there was gloss lips. Gloss lips, that was, that she's also having this makeup for Dirty. So it's the color like a little bit brownish, a little bit orange, and I would say, yeah, that's a good choice if you want to make it somehow, make a dialogue between the color and the topic of the title of the song, Dirty, right? But when I discovered flapper dress, I went through some, key moments in my life, some other wedding receptions and, things like that. Because for me, the fact that I was in the prom with a dancer who could not walk me in that dance and I was stepping over him, I'm sorry, but I'm not that horrible when dancing. And if I didn't have the comparison with the salsa dancer, then who actually could dance, yeah. So that was intriguing for me, and the fact that, okay, there was this opera singer, and we associate opera singers with Moulin Rouge, as far as I know, after doing a little bit of reading, and nobody said a word almost. Like, I was so bored, really. So I started to draw other dresses, but I still, have a problem with telling you where do they come from. So that was the entirely black dress, and it looked precisely like this. It would, if you don't have the right silhouette for it, it would just attract attention to this black block around you. It was, yeah, that short, and I was on the wedding reception in Silesia, where we played Indians, by the way. So yeah, we would run around the circle doing that. But I don't know if Native Americans do such a sound, but we did that. And we would jump on boys from the back who had to bend their knees first. When the music stopped playing, the Native American girls had to stop and jump on the cowboy. Um, So that was one of the dresses, and then that was yet another one. And I know I wouldn't go for that dress. Why? It's because of, here it makes you look bigger, and I don't have the right silhouette for it. So it's for a different type of body shape. So it was something like that. And I don't know what's the name of that. So if you know what's the name of that, please let me know. Um, and then I also thought about something very, very simple in the very first wedding reception I went to. So I was wearing a dark blue dress with sunflowers. Very simple one, but nicely lying on the body, not like, I have captured in here. And then on my Holy Communion, so around that time, I saw my cousin wearing this. So we were like, of course it was my Holy Communion, so I was in white, but but they're quite similar, aren't they? Yeah. And those famous shoes, I don't know if that's something typical for Moulin Rouge, but in one of the performances that I have seen lately, I have seen those shoes. So my sister used to wear them, and I bought those too. And there's more, there's more, like there's much more for sure. But okay, but anyway, I did the drawing. So I saw Christina in one of the songs also doing that, and that's the exit pose from a cat pose. So when you do not precisely a lap dance, but a dance in a strip club behind the curtains, then you do something like that. You do a cat pose, and then you come out of it, and you look more or less, you could say, like this. So I could even say that's a part of programming, because Christina Aguilera, when you watch a few of her video clips, you will see that she actually performs in front of the people, and she's very often dressed up as someone, as a stewardess, or as a but it's like a stewardess, but in a very, very short shorts, for example, or a policewoman in a very, very short shorts. So you have those sex costumes available in sex shops. So this looks pretty much like it. Yeah, in the song, ain't no one, and that's Shakira. Well, okay, so in a song, Una Tortura Perverted. Tortura, sorry, that's the title, Tortura. So basically, at least I avoided doing that precise movement in the strip club. But when I was dancing at home and I was alone at home, then I would be sitting in that pose when dancing. Yeah, definitely. Um, is there anything else about Shakira? Okay. Yeah, so that's that's pretty much it when it comes to the content of my wardrobe. Because when it comes to environment and perhaps the names of the friends that show up in your environment, I think I will go with that with another video, because today I'm not that ready to talk about it. So yeah, that's the content of my wardrobe for today. So thanks for watching, and I hope you will join my group Nostrils to Nostrils, and talk to you next week.